It's the FooRcast with me, Gavin Ford.
Aki.
Double T.
What we talking about? What we talking about?
Well, it's just been bank holiday weekend,
It has.
and for the first time in a long time, we were all in clubs over the weekend. So I thought we could talk about some of our best clubbing, worst clubbing experiences, following on from our chat about festivals last week.
I see where your head's at. So we were at the Rhino reunion. Rhino was a club in Southampton, cult club in Southampton. Back in the day, James Abela was resident upstairs. Artful Dodger and Craig David are resident downstairs.
Yeah.
That's how important it was in Southampton history. And this is our third Rhino reunion, is that right?
Third one, yeah.
And we had a lovely time, didn't we?
We had a lovely, lovely time, yeah.
Which is probably why this podcast isn't going to be very good. No, we had
That was a great turnout, and yeah.
Yeah, we had a lovely time.
Just playing some of the old records we still enjoy.
Yeah, it was good because everyone came. Our friend Hijack, who was one of my main Rhino residents, came from Australia. So, like, you know, it's the first time we've probably all been in a room playing music together.
For a long time, yeah.
For a long time. So it was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment. So Rhino would be one of the clubs that would be in my thing, just because of the knock-on and the history. But I don't think there's ever one of, like, I think that was more of a moment than it being a great club.
Yeah.
Was there anything special about it, like how it was laid out? Obviously, you said about the 2 rooms.
Downstairs where Artful Dodger and Craig played was real small.
Yeah, it wasn't very big, but...
It wasn't much bigger than this room. It's not even a joke.
But it created a great atmosphere, like, and intimate. Everyone knew each other in there, do you know what I mean? Like, 'cause it wasn't a very big room, and everyone used to go there every week. So it was more like a family in there.
Yeah, and it was like the start of garage. So it was like as a time start into like the main bit of garage, and it was like...
Yeah.
So it's like, as at the time, music was really exciting. You had to go to London to get the records, and it's just, yeah, it's more a moment than the club being upstairs. It was a good club. It wasn't a bad club, but yeah, it wasn't. What was the first club you went to?
I think it might be the beach.
That's the first club I DJ'd at.
Yeah, there's a speedboat, wasn't it? There's a DJ
Speedboat
booth.
was a DJ booth. Yeah. Did we talk about this before?
Yeah, we have actually, but
I think I've heard.
I think it's the
before,
first club I went to. It's the beach or Charlie Parker's, which was in Eastleigh, which got called Earth because I got residency there about when I was 17 or 18. So I was underage, but yeah.
McCluskey's was my first one.
Yeah, we won't go there. I've got some stories about that one, but what about you?
What about you, Aaron? It was about 3 weeks ago, wasn't it? The first club?
Yeah, something like that. It would have been Club Chemistry in Canterbury.
Oh, we DJ'd
student
there.
club. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you have done there before.
Yeah.
It's 3 floors. Bottom floor is cheese room. Middle floor is R&B. Top floor's dance music. Well, that's what it was when I used to go. So I used to spend the whole time on the top floor, while our other friends would spend the whole time moaning that they wanted to be on the middle floor. And then when everyone got kicked out at the end of the night, everyone would hang around the bottom floor.
Is it still there? Yeah, I thought it was. Fair play to them. It was a good club. It actually is a really good club.
Yeah, it was good. I remember actually. Yeah, that's up there.
I saw Hamdi play there, and I was probably about one of 10 people in the room while he was playing.
How long ago was that?
That would have been 2018, maybe. And then I met him outside McDonald's afterwards, and really friendly.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
We probably played about the same year.
Yeah.
We were probably there as similar time.
They used to do CT Fest.
That's it. That's what we played.
It was a May bank holiday, I think it usually was.
Yeah, and we had loads of gigs, and that's when we had the bus that was taking us to the thing.
I remember this now.
We were going to CT Fest from...
I think it was Soundclash, wasn't it?
From somewhere, and we couldn't stop, so I was throwing up into a plastic bag at the back. Cause
I remember that.
We didn't have time to stop. We didn't have time to stop to be sick outside, so I literally was just being sick into a bag.
Lovely experience. That
Good
was.
times. See, rock and roll, it's like giving you the insides
There you
to what people see.
Yeah.
And everyone was seeing what was my insides.
Are your clubbing experiences different now because you've played in so many clubs? Do you see things differently? Are you more tuned into the DJs, or are you able to switch off when you're not performing?
Yeah, I don't even hear what music's going on. I got the ability to completely turn off, because otherwise it just does my head in. Not because like you think, oh, is this DJ any good or is it DJ bad? Sometimes it is that, but it's almost like you think, oh, you hear something from a song and then you go, oh, we should do a song that does, oh, this is doing something like this, and like you just assess everything, and then it sets your mind off like 400 million. So you have to kind of learn to to try and switch off, because otherwise it's like, oh yeah, we should do a song like this, or oh, this is a good idea, or this makes you think like this, and that's just how my head works. I don't know about yours, Ak.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Obviously, we do make garage but I like to go to an event where it's kind of different music to what we make, because it's like refreshing to hear. So like I'll go to like a house event or something and just enjoy the music. Do you know what I mean? Without even thinking about, oh yeah, that we should do that, we should do this. So yeah, I try and go to clubs which are playing stuff that not necessarily we kind of make. That's a bit random. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think when I first started DJing in clubs, it was on lots of lineups with other upcoming DJs like myself, and for a big part of the audience was just other DJs. So then you are more self-aware of what you're doing. Any little slip-ups thinking they'll have heard that because they're DJs. But I think I've got a lot better at now just being able to just enjoy the set of whatever's playing.
Yeah, I think when you turn up, say to play festivals or clubs, and you're playing in a lineup with similar people, you can't help but kind of listen before what they're playing and after, you know, go like, oh, I wish we.
But I think people who don't work in well, I don't know. This is a guess, but I've been with people who don't work in music get a lot more frustrated about the music playing than I ever would. Like, oh, it's rubbish. Oh, the music. I hate the music here. I hate that. And I'll be like, just block it out. Like, I've never gone, oh, I got to go because the music. Maybe I have, but I think I've got quite good at just like, I don't even know what's playing. I could just like completely block it out and not even focus on it.
We're not kind of in the middle of the dance floor these days, though.
I've never been in the middle of the dance floor.
We'll be more to the side having a drink, rather. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, what's your favourite club you played at? I know we're saying about club experiences. What's your favourite club you've ever played at?
Personally, for me, best club, like playing at a club experience, was the time I got to play at Switch Southampton, because I'd been at uni for 3 years there, and it had been the place that I'd gone, and it the first place I'd seen people like Chase and Status, K-Motions, or whatever, people who inspired me to get into DJing in the first place. And I supported FooRcast there, and I was on first, so when I pressed play on the first song, the only people there were the people working behind the bar, and within
lucky guys,
and within half an hour the place was full. So that felt a bit surreal, and I was lucky that we had Chris Video there filming it, so I've got all the videos to look back on.
Shout out Chris Video.
Yeah, and that was still. And then I did the exact same thing for FooRcast at O2 Academy in Bournemouth. Those were probably my two favourite experiences DJing in clubs.
O2 Academy in Bournemouth, is that the Opera House?
That's right, Ak, it is, yeah. It used to be the Opera House.
That was one of my favourite clubs when I was younger, actually, to go to. Slinky on a Friday, wasn't it?
I used to work there, yeah. That was one of my first jobs.
Slinky and Coco Shabine as a drum and bass room at the back, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was one of my first jobs working for them. But that was a cool place to work back then, because it was like
that was like one of the biggest nights in the country.
Yeah, it was a cool job. But I only ever went there to work, so I don't feel like.
You guys even able to pick a favourite club that you've played at?
Hugo.
Well, I'm going to say, not a random one, but when we first got the gig, you probably wouldn't have thought, oh, this is probably going to be the best club I've played at. So I'm going to say Casbah in Coventry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
It was with Tom's and Majestic, was it as well?
Majestic was there.
It's just the layout of the club, just a vibe in there, from start
really
to finish, the sound, everything was just, the atmosphere, the people, everything was brilliant. So that one sticks with me, that event. Obviously, we played some really good clubs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, because Coventry, no offence to the people of Coventry, doesn't strike me as the like place
clubbing
to be
capital.
going out. Because you hear like particular cities are particularly good. Do you find that if you get a gig in a certain city, regardless of the club, you know that it's going to be a better gig than most?
That definitely sticks out to me. That I think I always say that to you, Gav, don't I? That night.
Well, I think obviously when you have the expectation, when you go in to think something and think, I don't know what this is going to be like, or I don't think this is going to be great, and it's good. When you go to something and you think, oh, this is going to be really, really
I just remember us all walking away going, bloody hell, that was good.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still there anymore. But it was busy. It was really busy. It was really good. Like that's one of the ones. It's a shame if it's not still there.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no, that was one of.
But that was after lockdown, so they obviously survived through lockdown. So hopefully they're still going. But
pretty good, because there's probably been because I only ever DJ'd after lockdown.
Yeah.
But I know from being a raver and from your stories that before lockdown, playing in clubs was a completely different experience to what it is now.
But that was after lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was after. That's why it was probably even more of a surprise.
I thought it was. My first thought was it was before lockdown because it was good. But XOYO is probably one of my favourites, which was after lockdown as well.
Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I really like it there. You're like on the same level as everyone.
That was the Molly Collins
tour, yeah.
That was one I did as well. I did the graveyard shift, 3 till 4, 4 till 5, the closing shift there. It was my first full drum and bass set as well, and that was really good because the people who stay to the end are the people who are usually most up for it as well. So really good energy in that room.
But we actually did the second. We've done both rooms. We did the second room with Jaguar Skills. You remember years ago, and Effie performed, and that was a really really good one.
That was good, yeah.
Jaguar Skills was amazing afterwards. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I think I've done that second room 3 times now as well.
So yeah, I'd say that was the best club because both rooms were up there in my memories of good clubs.
That's definitely. And what club would you like to play at that you haven't played at?
Fabric.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that. We haven't done Fabric, which is kind of a...
That's the only one I want to do. That's the only one I want to do.
Yeah.
I said Motion in Bristol. I went there recently and had a really good night there.
Yeah, we played there.
We've done that, but is that not closed? Someone said that. Is that
It's
closed?
about to close.
It's about to close down, which is...
It's a real shame.
Shame.
That was with Tom Zanetti as well.
Yeah. That's an iconic club in the UK,
Yeah.
that is Motion.
Or Tank in Sheffield as well.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That'll be up there, actually. Tank would be up there.
Yeah.
Incredible club. That's a good shout. Yeah, Tank would top three best ones. But there's like a real big, obviously that was when the bass line was taken off, like the last, what they called bass line back then, obviously. There's a huge gap, north and south, of what works. And I remember the first time we played it, I remember thinking, this, not quite getting it at first because some of the stuff that works down here doesn't work up there. But then when we went back the second time, we like prepared for it and like knew what to expect, and that was like incredible.
Is that still a big thing now that you have to take into consideration about what you play where?
That's yeah. I mean, I think only because bassline's such a big thing up north. Like I think only ever felt it really with that type of stuff. Like it's only with that. Yeah, with everything else, it's kind of you do what you're going to do. But that was the first time I've been thinking, fucking hell, this is hard work. The first time, because there's some records you think, this is going to go off, and they're like, but then you see by the end of it again, you shouldn't plan sets because if we hadn't adapted that set at Tank, we probably wouldn't have got booked again. And then when we come back, we like knew what to expect. But I've never really felt with any other scene that there's been like a big north and south divide. Scotland. There's different areas that like different variations of the things are like a little bit harder in Scotland. And then when we played in Northern Ireland, they kept asking for 140. So obviously you think like 140, but they have this genre up there. And apologies if it's got a different name, but it's kind of like I think 140. And so I started playing some dubstep stuff, and they were like, nah. And I was like, then the DJ after we played, and it was like
bounce, wasn't it?
Yeah,
on
like
the floor,
bouncy, sort of fast. Don't know what it was, but they loved it. So yeah, different areas have different things that they like. But the only time I thought the thing was bassline, where I thought, oh shit, I need to change what we're doing here. Everyone else kind of gets on with it.
Obviously, you say you're quite good at adapting your sets when you need to, and on the fly, you never plan start to finish. But have you ever had any sort of disaster stories in a club where either something has gone wrong or the music just hasn't connected with the crowd?
We played in Ipswich and the equipment was like real bad. Like we just couldn't start. It was.
There's been sets where we play maybe like not Oceanas, but like places like that where it starts slow, then eventually they get into it, and it's kind of like
I've been usually good at getting people into it.
Yeah,
it's only really the equipment where I think obviously they've turned up to things where there's been no one there. But that's
like me and Gav have been DJing for like 20, 30 years, so we've played all sorts of clubs and styles, so we know how to adapt if it's not working or whatever. But like,
have you had the sort of nightmares that every DJ has nightmares of?
No, but sometimes you go, we're going to go play like this new bass line, we've got all these new tracks, and you start playing them and they're not feeling it, and then you have to adapt and go back to maybe some of the classic stuff, or just to keep them entertained.
Yeah, I meant more of have you had like the USBs corrupting and the cues?
No, well, we obviously had the forgetting the USBs thing that we told last time for the festivals.
No, but I can't really remember too much of a disaster anywhere.
No, nothing as bad as that. I'm sure there's been the odd thing where tracks haven't uploaded or stuff, but nothing.
Or you've done the classic where you've stopped the track you're playing.
Yeah, but I think
you're not a DJ if you haven't done that at least once.
I think crowds are more sympathetic to that now because every time it happens, there's always.
It's always good when if you got a host Tyrone, he'll just pick up straight away and go and style it out. Do you know what I mean?
When I was a resident DJ, I did loads of stuff.
Yeah.
I did absolutely everything wrong.
But then you're playing 4 or 5 hours a night rather than an hour.
And also, we used to play records. So I can remember one time I was playing a record and I started talking to someone. Obviously, must have been drunk. And I've started talking to someone. The record's run out. I hadn't even picked another record to play. So I've sort of like looked up and gone, oh no. Saw there was a CD player. Pressed play. But it was Michael Jackson Beat It, but half the way through. So it started like, and I was like, I don't think I've heard anything sound worse at a club ever. It was like, it could have been any... it could have been any record, but as long as it was the start of a record, but it was halfway through. It was that.
I think I had a disaster. I can't remember the club because it was so long ago. We were obviously using vinyl back then, and obviously, you're on a needle. So if you don't now and then give the needle a little rub, it just builds up dust. So it'll be halfway through it and it'll go just slide off and just completely end the song. Well, that happened to me once, I think.
Oh yeah, I
you know what I'm saying? I the needle used to pick up dust and then like it just to a point where I won't play the song anymore and just slide off.
Yeah, I was playing. Was playing in this club in Eastleigh. Is one, and it was like the DJ booth was in a room, so you couldn't have any.
Is that Breezers?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Do you play there?
I played there, yeah.
So you couldn't hear anything from the crowd. So I've got my head down. I'm really practicing, and I did a mix where I'm mixing Daniel Bedingfield into a trance record. I think, always innovating. And then like I've brought it in, but then the fluff's gone across the record and thing. But I've looked up and everyone's gone. Like the whole crowd had gone, and it was like my friend still brings that up to me now. That mix. So yeah, before FooR, we'd obviously did the resident DJing and got all the mistakes out of the way. I think.
Yeah, I think you kind of like you say, if you're a resident playing 4 or 5 hours a night, then you're more likely to. If you're doing an hour and
an hour and you're not really deviating much from one genre too much.
What about any like kind of interesting stories? Or I was going to say me and Tyrone, we went to Belgium, and I don't know why you didn't come. You went to Antwerp on like a festival, and we got there like this massive big top in the middle of nowhere, and we're like, there's no one here. It's like really weird. So we went up to the green room thing, and then next minute everyone turned up on bikes, like push bikes. There must have been about 1,000 people turned up on push bikes to this festival, and it was rammed the whole night. And I don't know, they obviously must have got back on their push bikes and left. Me and Tyrone look out the windows, these push bikes keep turning up when people come to this festival.
That is weird.
That'd be so surreal as well, seeing everyone rock up.
It ended up being really good, but we were just like, what the hell's going on here?
No, I had the disaster. I now always take 4 USBs with me. I used to only take 2. And both of them corrupted. It was just when I was DJing just in town, like down the hill from my house. So I had to run back home.
So you took 2 and they were both corrupt?
Both corrupt. Yeah.
That's bad luck, isn't it?
It was really, really bad luck. It was pouring rain, and I had to run home, sort them out, and come back. That was pretty rough.
That's pretty rough. At least you could go home and sort it out.
Yeah, that was the only shining light. But taking it up a steep hill when it was pissing it down was not fun.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more things that we've done, but we'll have to we'll have to get Tyrone on to do another one with the clubs and stuff. Yeah, remember different ones to us. But yeah, let us know your favourite clubs in the comments.
Yeah, and let's hope clubs make a revival.
Yeah, let's hope there's new clubs for us to talk about over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Long live clubs. Wallop.